Like any good movement, the Occupy movement has to conduct a serious self-criticism and look at what it did right and what it did wrong. At this point, it's pretty much disappeared, and then that's just a fact. I pass Union Square nearly every day, and it's a very sad sight now. When I go to Union Square, the main occupants of the square now are the Hare Krishnas again. Well, with all due respect to Hare Krishnas, it was much more inspiring when the center stage was occupied by the Occupy movement. And that's no longer the case. Last night when I passed, there was the Hare Krishnas on one side, and it was the young fellows doing their gymnastics to music on the other side, surrounded by crowds of people. Well, the Occupy movement is gone, and there has to be some serious reflection on what went wrong. Serious self-criticism. So I think that people like Bloomberg, yes, they're complete thugs, no question about it. But on the other hand, it must be said that they are politically savvy. They don't get into those positions of power, in the case of Bloomberg, both economic and political power, by being anybody's fool. And they recognized that the Occupy movement had reached a point of extreme fragility, and that you can go in with the bulldozers, knock out the whole thing, and effectively eliminate it. They recognized, which I have to say I did not, that the fruit was ripe for the picking. They could get away with it at that point. And then the question is why? What happened? What went wrong? And I think there are two things. If I were speaking as a strict outsider, and I always have to enter that caveat, two things which seem to be wrong. Number one, Gandhi's great skill was as an organizer. He dug very deep roots in the Indian masses. He was not speaking from the outside. He was among them. He lived like them. He dug deep roots, and he was a careful, methodical, to the point of, you would say, tedium, organizer of every detail of his movement. If you read, most of his collected works consist of letters. Overwhelmingly, it's letters. And he's watching where every nickel and dime goes. This is the people's money. Nothing is going to be wasted. Nothing is going to be squandered, let alone nothing is going to be cheated. And no one is going to get away with theft, thievery. So the first rule is you have to dig very deep roots in your constituency. I'm not sure how successful the Occupy movement even initially was at that. I got the impression, it's a superficial impression, but nonetheless, even surfaces tell something about reality. Let's say when you were in the Boston Occupy, there seemed to be a sense of we, the encampment, us versus them, namely the world outside. We were the enlightened ones and surrounded by the corrupt society. That's not how you build a movement. It has to be among the people. The moment it becomes us versus them, you then become an easy target for the bulldozers, because nobody cares. The second thing, which everybody said, Colburn put it as the I don't remember the exact adjective he used, but he used it as something like the incessant speechifying, that the Occupy movement never got beyond the speechifying to where is the beef? The ability to not just synthesize a slogan, which was brilliantly done, but then we have to move from synthesizing a slogan to synthesizing a demand or a series of demands with the same criteria. Where is collective the consciousness of people? What's the furthest you can reach them with, or their incipient consciousness? What are the demands? Obviously, a demand like nationalize the banks. No, people were nowhere near there. But demands like if you had 4 demands: 1, eliminate or a moratorium on student loans; 2, a public works program; 3, a major increase in taxes for the rich; and 4, something on the mortgage crisis, which is hitting so many people badly. If you had synthesized 4 simple demands and worked from there, I think there were prospects, but they never made the transition from the slogan, which was excellent, to the demands. Okay, what do you want? And it felt like we were stalling there. Now, exactly why it didn't happen, I don't know. I'm not on the inside. Exactly why it didn't happen, I can't say. But I think personally, the least significant factor by a wide margin was the police repression. The police repression was relatively minimal, and it didn't require more than minimal, because they wisely assessed that now was the moment to strike. It would work, and it did. The movement vanished. It's kind of, it is a source of wonder how it so quickly disappeared from sight.